I thought I should be very creative and I should call this talk of mine as 3 mistakes of my life. Then I realized Chetan Bhagat has done it. More than 3 mistakes actually. But then I thought I should call this talk as 3 stories of my life. Then I realized Steve Jobs has done it. And I don't want to copy Jobs. My name is not Samsung. Right? So very creatively, very innovatively, I'm going to call this talk of mine as 3 experiments of my life. Going to the first experiment that I did in my entire life. First experiment was back in college. Like I said, one of the best in the country. One of my friends came up to me and said, "Hey, Saveen, let's build a car from scratch." I said, "Okay." He said, we'll put the wheels, we'll design everything, we'll make it amazing. And just the 3 of us, let's design and make a great car. And guess what? I said yes. And we worked on it, struggled a lot, dragged that entire system across Bangalore streets when people were laughing at us like, what is this? And so on. But we worked on it really hard and we made a car at the end of it. Everything from scratch. I might have a picture of it. This is the car that we had in our mind, okay? So the actual car was this. All right, don't laugh at it, okay? It's not that bad. That's a bike engine. We put it on a frame, and the wheels are from an auto rickshaw. The steering wheel is from a standard Herald car. It doesn't even have a seat, and the spark plug is right below where you sit. So it's all right. So please don't laugh at it, okay? It successfully ran, okay, once. Just. Why did we do this? When I look back now, I have no idea. Why did we do this? Because every single person that we met, we would talk about building this car because we spent 3 holidays that we got between semesters and engineering doing this. And when we showed this to them, they were like, this? But a few years later, another project that was given from the United States of America of building a Formula type race car, they called the 3 of us and said, you guys will lead the team because nobody else had done even this. And that went on to get me my first job, working in the world's largest automobile company as a design and validation engineer. It was a dream job. That was the moment I thought I was successful. I was designing the cars that I wanted to always do. So I'm going to put this moment of mine as success in this box because that was my first moment of success. And in this job, I used to attend a lot of training programs in my organization because it was a global organization. And I realized that those training programs were very boring. I thought it was very informative, but it was not interactive. So I got this idea that we can train people by interacting with them more, making them play games, having fun, using humor as a tool, and so on. But I didn't have any experience of running a company. I didn't have any experience in the HR side of things, but I thought it's worth a shot. That was my second experiment that I want to talk about, is leaving my stable job and jumping to do something that is completely unknown. It was one of the most difficult things I've done. How many of you have a strict dad? Raise your hand. Okay. Now, let's take one of the most ruthless people on earth. Let's take Adolf Hitler. If Adolf Hitler was here, my dad was here. Okay. No, that's because my dad was taller, that's all. Now, if your dad took you on a trip, like foreign trip, etc., my dad also took me on a trip. It was called guilt trip. Like everything I did, he would make me feel guilty for it. So I took this courage and went and spoke to him saying that, Dad, I'm planning to leave my stable job and start something on my own. I want to be an entrepreneur. He looked at me and asked me this very strange question. He said, Saveen, he was a hotelier, by the way. So he would always talk to me in food lingo. He looked at me and said, Saveen, do you know the difference between a KFC bucket chicken and an entrepreneur? I said, no, Dad. He said, a KFC bucket chicken can feed a family of 4. Remember, when people ridicule you, it's because you have a radical idea. I went and took that leap forward and started this company called Saveen Intelligence Training. And it was a very difficult thing because we had zero experience, zero contacts, zero clients, zero money. But we worked really hard. Within about 2 years, I got my first international opportunity. Somebody who liked our work. And it's not just any company. One of the Fortune 500 companies said, we need you to go and train in Singapore and Indonesia. I was shocked because we had struggled for 2 years with almost zero salary. And that moment for me, I thought, was a moment of success because somebody, 100-plus-year-old company is recognizing our work. We are not even about a year and a half or so. And that, I thought, was my moment of success. Having a business card of my own, which said Director of Saveen Intelligence, and taking it international. Now I'm going to talk about the third experiment that I did in my life. The most interesting one, the most bizarre one, which was called as Punch Tantra. Now the reason we called it that is because every single act that we did, we would have a tagline, a punchline at the end of it, and we would build a story around the punchline. So in this art form, what happens is people on stage do not speak a word, but there's one source of sound who's sitting in the corner, giving all the voices, all the dialogues, all the sound effects, or there's an audio clipping playing. So it is a very unique art form. Now, that person controls everything that happens on stage. And the actors don't have to mug up the lines. We're engineers, you see. Actually, it was easier to explain this art form when the previous government was there at the center. But so we went ahead and started this thing by booking the auditorium and saying, we'll do one show, one experimental show, and let's see how that goes. We started rehearsing. We rehearsed for about 3 months for the first show. It was completely draining. Every single weekend we spent doing just this. And the day was about to come, and before we went on stage, one day before it, we called one of well-known theatre personalities and said, please review what we're doing because we don't know what we're going to do. Now that person came and watched our entire thing and said, are you sure people are going to come and pay and watch this? And I was at loss of words because the next day was the show. We said, anyway, we'll book the auditorium, let's go ahead and perform. The shocking thing was we got a standing ovation in the very first show. A lot of times we failed, but this was a success and we didn't know how to handle that success. And it was one experimental show that we had planned for, and people started asking, when is the next show? And we don't know what to do with it. I still remember one of our teammates ran to the console, asked that guy, when is this auditorium available next? And came back and told it in my ear that, okay, this is the date, and we just announced that date, and we performed. And that's how the journey started. We have been ridiculed by a lot of theatre personalities, saying this is unconventional, this is not even theatre. Today, as we stand, it's about 3 years since this journey started. We are close to about 100 shows. We performed with some of the best names in the country. We didn't dream of it. We didn't even know that this will end up this way with one small experiment. This is a few bits about what our team does. This is the Indian mythology, one of the most powerful goddess, and this is how we recreated it on stage. This is the chariot that we recreate on stage with just people. This is one of the games called Angry Birds that we recreated on stage with people. This is the Bajaj scooter that we see most of the times. We recreated it like this. So at that moment of fame, personally for me, I thought getting to be in the newspaper in the front page, no, actually the second page, but was, I thought, a moment of success for me at that moment. And then all the 3 experiments that I had done started off not knowing where it's going to end up. Not knowing whether it's going to be a success, whether it's going to be a failure. But what I loved about it is we enjoyed the experiment itself. So at this stage, suddenly I thought we have a lot of success in me. And then I thought, I've done so many things, but I still somehow felt empty within me that, is this really success? So I had a lot of things inside. Actually, I wasn't sure. So it's actually an illusion, the success that you have. what is the meaning of success? Because it is truly an illusion, right? We don't know what is success. According to me, success is going and giving your idea a fair shot, at least one shot. Think of the successful leaders that we look up to as per the society. If you take Steve Jobs is no more, but his simplistic design idea still exists. Mother Teresa, she's no more, but her idea of care and empathy still exists. If you look at Mahatma Gandhi, his idea of satyagraha and non-violence still somewhat exists, right? So all these great leaders did the same thing. Now, I thought I'll give you another example of why experimenting without anybody giving you any incentive drives you towards excellence. How many of you here use Wikipedia? Do you know how many pages are there on Wikipedia? It has 50 lakh articles, but it has about 3,71,51,567 web pages. That's huge. So if you were running Wikipedia, you would have to hire so many people, right? Now, do you know how many people work in Wikipedia? Yes? 65 people, that's it. 65 people, how do they handle this kind of a volume? There are 1.8 million free volunteering contributors. Why do they do this? I found a very interesting article on toilet paper orientation. Now, you should realize that who is this guy who's written it? 5 full pages on toilet paper orientation. Now, what is the difference between these two? The over orientation and the under orientation. Why is he doing this? Right? At the end of the day, it is all about having that idea in you and giving it a fair chance. Now, you've seen a lot of artists, a lot of performers come and speak over here, but I believe that I am not an artist, I'm an ordinary engineer, but I wanted to perform. Each one of us in this room have an artist within us, have an idea within us, but we don't want to take it to the next step and see it in real life because we're scared. The most important thing is that somebody from the outside might ridicule your idea, but the worst thing to do is you ridiculing it yourself and killing an idea. So give your idea a fair chance, because like Ted says, your idea is worth spreading.